Yeah, it's great to see you.
Oh my God, what a ride it's been in 2021.
I
You
know,
know?
right? It's been crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-oh. What
wild.
is going on here? Hang on. Looks like we have a problem.
Oh, Houston.
Yeah, looks like we're not hooking up to anything. Let me just refresh this. Okay, looks like we might be. We got 6 people in the house, and it's just slow getting on. So I just want to make sure that the main platforms turn on, and it looks like we're just going to have to go with it. Can hear and see you. Okay, thank you, Debbie D. So we're on YouTube, Twitch, Periscope. Some of the Facebook platforms are having a problem. That's too bad. Well,
Okay.
mm.
Yeah, I got my first strike on YouTube.
You're an outlaw now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got it last month because I did a video on Biden in January, just on what my thoughts were on it,
On
and
what? You
on
did.
Biden's inauguration. And so,
Okay,
so
so
yeah, I
we're
got my first
yeah
strike.
yeah. It looks like we're on some of the platforms. It's okay. We're on. Wow, that's just too bad. Okay, let me check this one more time. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna put this link on real quick. I mean, not link. This intro. It's a minute 19 seconds. We'll be right back. How's it going, everybody? We're having a little bit of a technical difficulty, but whenever we do, we always have a great show. Whoa, is that me or you?
That
Test,
was you,
test.
Todd.
All that crackling, man. What's happening? There's a lot of energy moving these last 3 or 4 days. I don't know about
Yeah.
everybody else, but let's see. Yeah, yeah. Denise says it hasn't gone live on my page. That's okay. We got it on a few of the other ones, so that's okay. We'll live with that. We can do that. Yeah, it's been a little bit crazy. Hey, Ian Morris is here. He's going to be on after this show. We had a little, with the daylight savings time changes, we had a little mix up on our end. Okay, so I'm a little bit off kilter. I was up till almost 4 o'clock working on the Soulogy Fest, and then getting up to do these shows. So how you doing? What's happening? 2021's been blistering. The last few days have been blistering. I mean, I don't think this thing's going to let up. I know you've been in this game a long time, but I don't think you or anyone else has seen anything like what's happening.
No, it's a crazy ride. I mean, yeah, I had no idea what we were signed up for when we signed those contracts. I don't think I read mine. I think I just and they handed it to me and I just signed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm over in the UK and we can't leave. Where everything's still on lockdown. We can't leave. I did see a post earlier today about Turkey, where I think in April they're going to lift the lockdown so that we will be able to travel. and Turkey's talking about letting the UK people in without a passport and without a vaccine certificate.
Really?
Yeah.
So they're actually talking about letting people in the country without a passport.
Wow. Without a COVID passport.
Oh, without a COVID passport. Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
even a reality yet. They're already acting like it's a reality.
I know.
I saw something today, or I don't even know because I can't even remember anything right now. But it was what did it was? Oh, it was a post, and it said, if you penetrate a woman, it's rape. If you penetrate somebody's body with a knife, it's murder. And if you penetrate somebody with a needle, it's the same type of energy. It's the same type of intrusion, So there's a lot of that interesting, those interesting dynamics going on that we look at and that's in the collective. But there's also this stuff going on a personal level that's, it's just you and the universe, and that's it.
Yeah, I saw that post earlier. I think it was Laura Eisenhower that put it up. I think so.
Yeah. I think you're right.
But yeah, I saw that as well, Todd. And I've just been very quiet, just trying to keep in my heart space in my center. Just going to the beach a lot and not playing into any of the fear or negative emotions or any of the nonsense, any of the BS that's going on in the world. Just kind of in my own space, doing my own thing, not wearing a mask. I won't ever wear a mask.
Becoming an outlaw and getting a strike from YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what possessed you to do a video on Joe Biden or whatever it was? What was it about? Just the election?
That's what it was, Todd.
Yeah.
I watched Joe Biden's inauguration via Sasha Stone because he shared it live out, so I watched that, and then I came away, and then after a couple of days I did my own thoughts on Biden's inauguration, and I think it's because I really noticed Obama being recorded a lot, and I noticed I guess I was reading his vibes, his body language, his facial expressions and everything, and I just put my thoughts into the video, and they came back after a while. I mean, they only came back to me last month, so it was a while. It took them a while to pick up on it, but they said that they deleted it for hate speech. So
this is hilarious. Well, it's crazy. I mean, because you start looking at this stuff, and really, what can you prove? There's a lot of information and disinformation out there from every direction, but you have to consider things like clones. Were people arrested? Is the military in charge? Which really gets me, because I'm like, okay, well, if the military's in charge and everything's okay now, this is all, you know what I mean? So it's all like, but at the same time, what I look at is like, okay, if all of these crazy things are possible, and I have to accept them as being possible in order to be in my own balance, in my own center, and find my own 0 point and integrate all things of polarity, then by the same token, there's got to be some disclosure coming to the human being, to the divine human being. Like, what are we becoming? If that stuff is possible, what's possible with us,
I watched an interview with you and an Irish girl from North. I think it's Sinead.
Sinead,
yeah, and that was really interesting, where you were saying that the same thing. You were saying that the military are in charge, and I think that that's great if they are.
But right.
But
well, I mean, you get what I was saying on that show, though. What I was saying is that, okay, it's almost like, what name or label do you want to put on the same program? And I'm just going to call it a savior-based program. So first, when we were kids, we had Jesus, if we were raised Christian. And then you have, maybe it's President Reagan or Prime Minister Thatcher or some country. Then you have all this stuff going on the last few years when Trump's been in office and the Q movement. And I'm like, okay, so what's the bottom line here? Oh, that the military is in charge. Oh, well, then everything's okay.
Yeah.
Like
it's just don't do anything.
It's exactly. It's just another savior-based program with a different label. So that, I know it's difficult for me. It's difficult for everybody. I say difficult, I mean, not to look at that. Oh, I don't read the news and I don't watch the news. And I hear people say that, but you're still affected by it. Even if you go out and you're confronted with not wearing a mask. So to me, all I can make of this is to just look for that same, dynamic of possibility within myself and within my brothers and sisters, because it seems to be the only thing that makes sense to me. And I know I'm not making sense this morning because I'm tired, but is that we change this thing on the outside by changing ourselves. And that's really the best belief system I have found. I don't know about you, but I'd love to hear what you.
Yeah, well, I totally agree with you. I really got what you were saying in that interview and just now, where, it's if the military are in charge, that's great. But we need to stop sitting back and relaxing, thinking that the military is okay, is in charge, or anything outside of ourselves is going to save us, because we need to be our own saviors. We need to step up. We need to get off the couch, off Netflix, and pick up our etheric swords and take charge for our own lives, our own health, our own voices, our own medicine, our own food, our own water, as much as we can. We need to come away from the large cities and move into areas and do what we need to, to have the basic food that's clean food, the basic water that's clean water, to come away from, everything in the supermarket is toxins and chemicals. So, and we've been, everything has been weaponized against us. So we just need to come away from the BS. I don't know if it's okay to swear or not, Todd, but
you can swear on this show. We're not going to have a problem with that, especially if it's coming from an angel. If an angel drops an F-bomb, you better listen. Or a BS bomb. So last night I laid down. I was very tired. I couldn't go to sleep. And this is about what you're talking about. And so I was like, how am I going to get to this point and to that point? This is just personal stuff. I don't need to get into details. And between me and these other things, which I'm not afraid of at all, between me and where I want to be, there's these seemingly, from a 3D perspective, obstacles, laws, regulation, passport, borders, COVID, travel restrictions. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, wait a minute, those things aren't even real. This is where the people talk about the war, the spiritual war. It's the war on consciousness. I own my consciousness. I am my consciousness. So there's got to be a way that I can work with my etherical sword, like you said, and sever the heads off of these illusions that we're actually all perpetuating by being enslaved by the illusion that they're actually real.
Yeah,
there's got to be a way we can do this.
Well, I think that the key to that is to take back our divinity, take back our sovereignty, take back our power over ourselves, take control, take responsibility for our own lives, come away from the laws, the dictatorship, the programming, pay no heed to what anyone outside of you tells you that you must do, that you must wear a mask, or you must take this medicine or that vaccine, or anything outside of yourself. We have control over our own minds, our own bodies. And
that's right.
And it's it's cathartic what's happening at the moment, because it is beautiful on one hand, but on the other hand, it's horrendous, depending on where you live in the world. I saw a few months ago that Egypt, that there was no one was wearing, I don't know what's happening now, but I saw a few months ago that nothing was happening in Egypt. No one was wearing masks or anything. So I don't know what's happening now, but you were saying something the other day, Todd, in an interview, and I really kind of wanted to go into it a little bit, where you were saying about the Earth evolving, and I think you're absolutely right. I think, you know, we are in a process of evolution. We are, as humans, we are evolving. Our minds are evolving. Our brains are evolving. Our bodies are changing. Our auric fields are expanding. We're becoming more aware. We're becoming more telepathic, and I know you know that. Especially to do with the telepathy. We are evolving as human beings, and I feel that the Earth is also evolving. The Earth is expanding. The Earth is, you know, what happens to humans happens to the Earth as well, and also the universe. So everything is evolving. Stars are aligning, and this is a great time in humanity of the Great Awakening. Yeah,
it's to me, it's like the universe is connecting to itself. Like we're a small micro of it, say here on Earth, humanity. Even in these communities, even like us connecting and all of our friends and brothers and sisters that we connect with. You mentioned Laura. There's all kinds of people, right? And we're actually finding ourselves through these mirrors as we align in frequency, and that's happening everywhere. So. Yeah. Even, you know, I don't know what your thoughts are. Well, I can kind of tell what they are. I just want to get you to go back over it. So let me just put it a different way. Do you see in, let's just say, the global fronts, you know, the global things that we can all look at and go, oh, yeah, we all know about that. Do you see the deconstruction? Do you see the, the death of all these institutions, all these illusions? I mean, do you see that's happening?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's already started to happen with the government, because most people are like you and me. They're able to see through the illusion, and they're having, you know, they're coming onto the internet. They're having their own shows, they're raising their voices. More people are becoming aware. Even the people that are wearing masks and taking vaccines, on some level, they must be aware that something isn't right. Something isn't right. Even if they're not, even if they're still believing in the governments, they must know that something isn't right. So I do see a great awakening, and I do see a great time of everything falling and crumbling. Governments, big pharma, energy companies.
Yeah.
And I think there's a big play with free energy. I mean, that's always been suppressed, and I think that's going to come to light as well. I think everything, and I think we're going to start to see it more and more in our lifetime, Todd, where governments are going to crumble, big pharma's going to crumble, big supermarkets are going to crumble. You know, all the big corporations are just going to domino effect one after the other. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think a lot of people are going to find that really difficult and very challenging. Yeah. If they're not awake, aware, and conscious, they're going to really struggle with that. But I think the Earth is going to shudder and shake off a lot of anything that doesn't resonate with her vibration, because I feel she's, as we are evolving, she's also, Mother Earth is also evolving, and she was going to, I totally believe she's going to shake off anything that doesn't resonate with her frequency. Like we are not, a lot of us have stopped trying to wake people up now, because we're doing
the same thing. We're throwing off anything. So, you know, have you this? I've kind of got this too over the last, few weeks or whatever, and I want to know how you feel. But there seems to be, to me, like, regardless of our free will, regardless of our belief systems that we're taking on and dismissing, and regardless of the things that have been happening the last few years, this is like automatic. It's like it's on automatic pilot. Like, this is happening. It's not just us. It's not just the Earth. It's the solar system, galaxy, universe. It's everything. Like I said, it's almost like the universe is connecting itself, like the neural pathways of the universe that separated, because everything is the same thing, right? Starts connecting, and so that's been a big one for me. So if you could speak to that, like, I mean, do you see it being on automatic pilot? And the other thing to me is that's kind of starting to happen is the stories, no matter if they're personal or global, are going away. Like we're becoming these energy beings, and we're operating on feeling versus conversation as much. You know what I mean? Or normal human interaction.
Yeah, totally. I've really noticed it the last couple of weeks, and it's progressively increased to the point over the last couple of days I've just been absolutely fine in my own world, not needing to share my voice or to say anything, just be in my own energy and to maintain that frequency and try and keep raising it all the time. And that's been very easy lately because of the energy that's going on the planet and Mother Earth at the moment. But yeah, I really want to get into that other question you were asking me. So one of the things I was shown by the Pleiadians last year sometime, I think it was January or February, is that this is a reversal of what happened at Atlantis. So at the time of Atlantis, a large meteor hit the Earth, shook the Earth off its natural axis, and negative ET energy came in and overtook Atlanteans. And our DNA was manipulated, was changed, was dumbed down. We originally had 13 strands of DNA, and we're going back to that now. So everything is now a reversal of what happened to Atlantis. So the Earth is moving back onto her natural axis, and we are naturally evolving back to our original 13 strands of DNA. What the negative agenda has been doing all these years, since the downfall of Atlantis, and since before then as well, because there's been a few downfalls of great civilizations. But so since the time of Atlantis, they've put a blanket of amnesia around the Earth that has caused humans amnesia. And I see this as a physical thing. I see it as a physical kind of blanket of energy around the Earth. But they can know. So, and now we are also in a space of evolution, an evolutionary period in time with the stars aligning. It's a natural process where they can no longer keep us held down or restricted and programmed, because it's a natural evolution of us raising.
Yeah.
So this is what they're trying to stop and curtail.
That's like on the macro level, what I was just saying. And what I'm saying is, like, you have a bunch of people come together and they spend a couple of days with each other or something, and you have, the minute they come together, stories start to form. People have a conversation, people interact, people have all different perceptions. So all these stories start, okay? And what I'm saying is what I've seen as I look back over the last few years, traveling around, doing meetings or gatherings, and just meeting different people, that it's not about the story. It's about the fact that these two soul coordinates, or 3 or 4 or 5, came together, even like this, even like with who's watching live and on the replay, because there is no time. And that the energetic convergence is what's significant versus the story. So I'm starting to look at, look at the I downloaded Galactic War stuff for 2 years, and I was very much into this, right? And I look at, I've had other downloads, and I've seen other people talk about what I would call, like what you're talking about, what I would call like the history of the recent past. We're talking solar system, where, like you said, the stars, the earth, the human part of it. And to me, I'm looking at it going, that's the story. That's simply the story, because what you're saying is actually the constant, which is the constant flow in divine orchestration, and we're all riding it, and we're all caught, not to say caught up in it in a bad way, but we're all living it in a story, which is both beautiful, but it's also playtime. It's also, we're souls, we're eternal souls. We got nothing to worry about. And no matter what,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah. And I think that's why we're here, Todd, as Starseeds, because I see you as a starseed. I see, and definitely Morgan as well, and anyone doing this work, in these times now, we are starseeds, whether you call yourself that or not. I think there's, and we all need to come together. There's so many different groups. There's the UFO people, there's the healers, there's the shamans, there's the Reiki, there's the sound healers. There's so many different people, but we all need to really band together and unite. And I've really been thinking about that a lot lately, and how I can help to play some part in that, however small, because each drop does make a difference.
Sure,
each drop fills the bucket, so to speak.
Each drop connects to every other drop. I mean, that's the thing, like I said about, and how do we contribute to that? I mean, you just made a really good point. What your aspiration is. I mean, I mean, if you look at it, I mean, for me anyway, I think it's most powerful and best done on a one-to-one basis. Like each and every moment we interact with somebody, or even with an animal, or even with nature, or even with whatever situation we're put in, to be more conscious of our effect in this quantum field. And I actually feel like that there's a significant number of people that are coming into their own and learning this new energy of old. Basically, this reality that doesn't operate on the story, but it operates on feeling, a lot like dream state, meditation, and dimensional experiences. It operates on instinct, intuitiveness, and feeling.
I know. One thing I want to do is, and I've done it in the past, but I'd like to pick up again with it, is to do mind, body, spirit fairs, psychic fairs, and conferences and events where I'm inviting different people from different genres to just come together and hold events. So I think that's where I'm going with it. That's my, that's something I can do, is to create events where different people are coming together, like shamans and UFO people, and just different genres. And Bruce mentioned in the comments about Easter Island, and I've been shown that Easter Island is one of the places where I believe it will be safe to be on Earth in the future, where it's almost like a landmark with Easter Island. I've always felt those statues are waiting for the return of the gods, which would be star nations or positive ET energy. That's how I see the gods.
But I actually saw this. There's no coincidences. Everything, we need to pay attention to everything that we see. Now I'm talking to you. I mentioned that meme earlier. It was Laura. I remember now. I think I saw it last night when I was trying to go to bed, or this morning. But you just mentioned Easter Island, and I happened to come across a meme either last night or this morning, and it was by Bashar, and it was a Q&A with Bashar, and it said, what is Easter Island? No, who created the statues? and he said the Lemurians.
Okay.
And he said, and I'm not saying this is gospel. I'm just putting this information out there because I think that's probably the best thing we can do is talk about what's come to us and not try to make sense of it, but put it out there and hope the code hits somebody. But anyway, the second part was, who were the statues of? And Bashar said it was the Anunnaki. They were statues of the Anunnaki created by the Lemurians. And again, I go back to, this is part of the story, right? The only difference between that story and the story of my family is one's on a grander scale, or was at another point in time, and you know what I mean? One's on a more personal level.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that, you know, we've been lied to en masse about everything in our history. The vast majority of our history, you know, our science, our school systems, our education, the nature of reality, of who we are, of where we came from. And that also seems to be coming to light now more and more, with more disclosure happening all the time in the mainstream media. So that and I see that as part of the Great Awakening, where they just can't push it down anymore. They just can't, you know, curtail it. They just can't stop it from rising to the surface. And truth will always come to light. It'll always come to light. But I see the Easter Island as being like a safe space on Earth, because I do believe that, you know, as the Earth shifts back onto her natural axis, there's going to be catastrophic events on Earth. We've already started to see that, you know, for a number of years now. So that's not to put fear into people. But that's already been happening for a number of years. So, but I do see Easter Island as being a safe space. But so it's interesting that the Bashtar has said that they are Anunnaki, you know?
Yeah. Well, there's so many different narratives. I mean, Anunnaki can sound bad, it can sound good, but I guess, you know, the bottom line is at least from what I can tell, from what I pick up from other people, from what I tell with the evolution or transformation of even these communities, is that we are everything. And, you know, if, for instance, what's the word apocalypse mean? It means unveiling. It's a Greek word that means unveiling. Like you said, the truth will come out. Now, this word and this time has been prophesied for thousands of years, certainly since the Great Flood. All right, which is questionable as to whether it was natural or somebody made it happen. Right. So, but my point is, whether the sacred text and those who wrote them, whether they were ET star family that were the lesser gods taking care of us, the watchers or whatever you want to call it, or whether it's something that in all the books was channeled by one of our brothers and sisters and foresaw this time period, it really doesn't matter if what we're all feeling is true, which is no matter what you think, no matter what I think, no matter what story it is, no matter what story it's not, no matter how much shadow you have or I have, that this is the time that this invisible, non-physical power we can call God, goddess, universe, whatever you want, is in charge, and everything is coming to the surface. Every single thing on a personal level and otherwise. And sit with that and say, now, what do I want to do with my life? Right? What do I want to do in this moment? I mean, that's kind of how I see it, right?
Yeah, and that's really where I'm at. I'm really, you know, deciding. I mean, I was 47 this year, and I'm really just deciding what I want to do when I grow up. what I want to do with the rest.
Exactly. Well, I love your idea. I love your idea, and I think this is actually going to be something that you're going to see more and more people do, bringing people together. And I love what you said, different genres, right? Now we're going to have a Soulogy Fest May 28th through 31st in Sedona. Tickets go on sale on Wednesday, and this is the same type of energy. And there's others out there like what you'll put together. And I think, and here we go back to getting away from the story and And instead of looking at the stories that we create, let's focus on our intention to connect and come together and mix it up, not just one singularity, but this remix of all these genres. And remember that it's the energy and the intention of the heart that brings us together. We're still human. There's going to be stories. There's going to be conflict. There's going to be this and there's going to be that, these different perceptions from all of us. But the fact that somebody or some bodies, and it's happening a lot, and it can be here virtually too, are bringing people together. It's the intention that is driving the energy always, and so I think this is not to be underestimated, because I really believe that when we do that, we're helping the universe to connect to itself, as we all head back to the one, basically.
And I think that what's coming to me right now is that the power of uniting will win this battle. And last year, when COVID kicked off in January or February in the UK, whenever it was, I really spent the year reaching out to people and doing interviews and talking and connecting with people like you, who I would never have connected with otherwise. So the negative agenda will always, I think it's got to a point, Todd, where the negative agenda will now always have the light coming back and reflecting at them. I see it very much as, a negative wave of energy where they've come in and they've put COVID in, and then this positive wave is riding back over upon them.
Well, so it has, if you look at it, that's a great example, right? I mean, let's just say that the narrative is true, okay? That, as from what I researched, that it was 2005, this was created. I saw a pretty credible report that it was at a university in North Carolina, that when the certain people saw what was occurring, they said, we can't have anything to do with this because it's a bioweapon. So it was sent to Wuhan, owned by the same people. Let's just say that narrative is holding true, and there was an ill intention behind COVID-19. You're absolutely right, because the quarantines, the shutting the schools down, the taking people off of work, all these different things have backfired. Now the kids are free. They're out of the institution of being institutionalized, basically, or programmed. The medical industry is taking a huge hit. All these things are happening. And I love what you said at the beginning of the show, that people, no matter who they are, no matter who it is, no matter what you think or I think, everybody's kind of going, hey, what the F? Like, they're questioning, if this isn't true, then what else isn't true? So that's a great thing.
I know it's the snake eating itself. They just can't curtail it anymore. And I've always felt since the very, very beginning that I will be able to travel, because I love traveling and I want to do more of it over the next couple of years while I'm still young enough and fit enough to do so. But I've always had that vision that I'm going to be able to travel, even with the media and everything coming at me and telling me that I'm not going to be able to travel. So we're all going to travel.
We're all going to travel, and it's not just going to be on the earth, and it's not going to be in a machine. We're all going to travel. We already do now. We're just not conscious of it. And when we're conscious, we go, oh, I can't do that. But when we go to sleep, we do. So it's just going to flip, because in this conscious awake state, we're going, okay, I can't go to the store because I got to wear a mask, or I got to pay taxes, or I got to follow this rule, or, and it's there because we believe it, but we don't believe, but we're quickly changing through our own personal transformations. What we don't believe is the teleportation, the instant manifestation with pure intention. We're learning all this, and it's happening, because if you're having an apocalypse, an unveiling, and it applies to everyone, what is the core of that? It's the single cell, the divine human being, the single cell unique aspect that has a different soul signature, than anything else. Each one of those things is coming to their own. And when you're in the human experience, this is what it looks like. It looks like what we've been doing, which is, was once chaotic, and we're starting to understand that we have the ability to affect the collective through our own personal transformation, and that includes our thoughts and perspectives and belief systems that we hold on to without challenging. You know,
and there's always more to learn. I mean, I'm still waking up to different levels of reality and understanding that I know nothing about anything. You know,
that's exactly right. That's how I feel. More than ever in the last 2 weeks, I don't know anything. I don't think you're going to hear me say, "How do you feel about this?" I'm not going to say I'm okay, because I'm not okay. I'm not holy and whole, and I don't think I'm going to be holy and whole until, maybe when I transition physically. I don't know how this thing works. Maybe we ascend and then we're all holy and whole together, where there's no need for forgiveness. There's no concepts of codependent love. There's no need for laws. I mean, all these things that I think are falling. And what does that mean on the other side? What does that mean about us? Are we really gods and goddesses in the flesh? I believe we are.
Yeah, so do I. And I think the 3D reality that we're in at the moment is crumbling. The governments and all of it is crumbling like a domino effect. And I think that we are going into one of the things that the Pleiadians showed me that in January or February last year, that there was 2 beams of light hitting the Earth, and those were going to increase, intensify, and increase and intensify until the point it was actually going to cause the Earth to twist and pull into 2 Earths. One was going to ascend or go into a higher frequency, a higher dimension, a higher awareness, and the other one was going to stay where it is or drop into a lower frequency dimension awareness. So I think that is a possibility. I'm not saying it's the absolute truth, but I think it's a high possibility where there is a split and divide into 2 Earths. But I think it's beautiful what's happening on Earth at the moment. I mean, it's very cathartic. But,
I look at, I get what you're saying. And I look at someone like you, and I've obviously talked to a lot of people, 2,600 programs.
Wow.
I respect everybody's reality. And what I mean by that is the universe communicates to each one of us in a different way. Everything is metaphoric. And I really started thinking about this a couple of days ago again. And so, like, I believe what you're saying. Is it literal, or is it an energetic thing? People have been talking about the Great Divide for a long time. They've been talking about it in the sacred text when they prophesied this time. But I was actually this weekend, I spent some time doing some research and looking for new platforms that I might not have been exposed to, and I just happened to come across a Corey Goode interview, which I've listened to him before, and I just took it in, and then I went on down the road. But when I started watching him, and he was talking about his experiences with the Blue Avians and with this and with that, even Secret Space Program, it wasn't about, is this true in the literal sense, like from the human comprehension to me. It was more like, from a metaphoric standpoint, did those things happen to him? And I say yes. Now, did he receive this in a dream state? Was it in meditation? Did it actually happen? It doesn't even matter. The point is that I have to be open. That's the way I look at it, that this is a metaphoric message, and everybody gets a metaphoric message all the time, all day long, every day, So I think one of the other things that's happened this year is that, like you were talking about, like even what we talked about, a couple of things when the show started, that you said this, I saw that, you saw it too. People writing about the same experience that they're having, and it matches energetically what other people are writing and talking about.
Yeah, because we're all waking up. We're all starting to become our own gods, our own goddesses, our own, start listening to our own intuitive voices, our own awareness, our own messenger systems, our own downloads, our own channels, where we get messages from wherever. We're all starting to become our own masters, I guess, masters of
yes.
ourselves.
So here we go back with the automatic pilot thing. How deep does it go? I personally, I believe, no, I don't believe I know. And because to believe is not to know, and to know is not to believe. But I know that everybody gets there. So sooner or later, whether it's an etheric or a physical sword, we're going to lay it down. Because, if we're everything, then we're everything. And if we're not, then we're going to continue to live in chaos, right?
Yeah, I think we're just going back to discovering who we really are. And I do think it's a real, well, I know it's a real evolutionary process where we are waking up, and some of us are ahead of us. Some of us are at the front line, and some of us are way behind, where we really need to catch up. And it's nothing actually to do with age, because there are children who are more awake than I am.
Absolutely.
And there are elderly people who are less awake than I am, for sure. And I've met a few of them recently. So yeah,
well,
I think.
Yeah. I mean, like, this is a conversation. And that's what I love about this show. It's a conversation. You never know what's going to happen, but because we're all trying to learn. Now, I'm just sharing this with you. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. But when I'm really starting to listen to myself, I'm not fine. I might be 99.9%, right? I'm not balanced. I might be 98%. You know what I mean? I've not cleared this or cleared that. It's clearing. Okay. I'm ascending, right? I'm expanding. Everything is an ing, not an ed. You know what I mean? Present is present. And when I put an ed on something, it's a past. It's now in the past, which it's still present. There is no past, right? So when I on the show, I'll just take it on myself. When I look at someone and go, they're not awake, they don't get it, I know there's something in me that starts turning in my soul, in my solar, that says, hey, buddy, wait a minute, because you're not seeing something, and you think you're seeing something, but for everything that you see in someone else or something else that you don't identify with, you're immediately creating a superiority, right? Now there's things in that person that I may think's not awake that they're bringing to the table that keeps this thing in balance, because it's always an equal energy exchange. We don't see both sides or the other side of the yin yang. We see this side of it. So I think that for me, my contribution can be for myself, which I believe is the same thing as serving the collective, is to keep myself in check more than anything else, no matter what I pursue. And that is that getting to a point, I know it sounds, new age-ish, but that you see yourself truly in every single person. And that's really done. There's no shortcuts there. You know what I mean? If it's Joe Biden, you got to say, hey, you know what? That's me.
Yeah.
And whoever your antagonist is, whoever the person that makes you feel the most uncomfortable,
I think what you're saying, Todd, is really important, especially at the moment. It's really important because none of us are perfect. We've all got our shit to deal with and our stuff to deal with. But when we heal it in ourselves, it heals it within, to some degree, within the collective. So each of us, we need to stop looking on the outside and playing into the narrative or the stories or anything on the outside of us that is of a negative vibration. We just need to be quiet, go within to our hearts and our stillness and just be. Just see the beauty in things.
Yeah.
Raise our energy, raise our vibration, raise our love, emotions, and bring that to the table. Bring our positive energy, our positive stories, our love light, our love energy, our positive sexual energy, whatever it is, however we express it, and bring that to the table, and ignore, let the negative stuff just fall away, and just focus on the positive stuff. Focus on the goal. Keep your eye on the prize, and let everything else fall away, because none of it is real anyway. It's all a dream spell.
That's the point. That's the point. And we're either going to walk the talk or keep talking bullshit, I mean, seriously. No, really, because I mean, what you said is beautiful. And I've heard people say this, and I've said it for years. So it's time to walk the talk. I'm a firm believer that the thought is the most powerful thing we have.
Yeah.
And I'll go to my coffin with that, this is where it stops and starts right here. My thoughts, so if projecting a thought of imbalance, of judgment, of condemnation, of whatever, this is where I fix it. Not the person, not the world. This is where I fix it. And you just said it beautifully. This is how we do it. In the age of the Trinity, I serve myself, my brothers and sisters in humanity equally. And that's done right here, and so this us and them darken. We know this is not what we're doing. Is we're taking this dimension to, let's just say, the 5D plus, right? So these things that don't exist up there aren't going to exist after we transform, but we can transform anytime we want to, but it happens one by one.
Yeah.
And you don't have to tell anybody anything, because if you're making that transformation within yourself, you're like a tuning fork, and other tuning forks are going to pick up on.
Yeah. To the point where you can walk into a room and you won't need to say anything, because people will just feel your energy. I think that's where we're going. We are in the midst of evolution, where that's where we're going. We won't need to. We no longer need to try and wake anyone up, because if they haven't woken up already, they probably won't.
If I think I need to wake somebody up, there's something in me that needs to wake up. You know what I mean? It's all about us, right? It's crazy. It's crazy cool. But so do you feel like that? Because you've been in these communities for a while, and even on a community scale, like locally, I mean, I think we're doing a kick-ass job. I think we're doing a great job, and I think we've been raised in an environment up to this point where we never gave ourselves enough credit. And the beauty of this entire thing is the shit that we're complaining about. It's the extreme emotions. It's the uncomfortableness. This is an opportunity in the flesh, in a dense atmosphere, in a dense vessel, to transform, to alchemize, magically transform, and do things that we've all had little bits and pieces of in dimension, in dream state, in divine episodes. We've all had flashes of this, and this is a golden opportunity. It's a golden opportunity. And the great thing about this opportunity and this experience is, it doesn't matter what we did up to this point 5 seconds ago. We can change right now.
Yeah.
Right now, we can put new transformational energy into the grid by doing it through ourselves.
Our past doesn't matter. It matters what we do now, what we do today, what we do tomorrow. And although I agree with you, there's no real past, present, or future. Everything is happening now. We do need to just let go of our baggage of things that have been restricting us, because everything does, thoughts are creative. So we need to be aware of what we're thinking, of what we're feeling, of what we're experiencing, and become the alchemist, where we are transforming energies. We are I mean, I came from, you know, I really was born into hell, what I describe as hell with but, you know, it could have been a lot worse for me. It could have been a lot worse. And so
somebody's always got it worse, right?
Yeah, exactly. And even though I had a lot of trauma and abuse and rape and poverty and blah, 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 I was very protected as a child. I was, and it could have been a lot worse. I mean, I remember going to school with a young boy that was murdered in a snuff movie, which was just horrendous. And I remember other stories, you know, in the playground as a child in my primary school, because I never had any secondary school. But I would read books at home and meditate. You know, I started meditating when I was 12, and you know, most kids don't do that.
Right.
But I was reading books by Edgar Cayce and Doris Stokes when I was 12. We had this very small library, and I would go and read all the books and take them home. And that's basically how I spent my childhood, was reading those books and meditating in my bedroom. So it's no wonder I was the weird kid, you know.
Welcome to the club. We're all there with you.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I want to ask you, and I'm sorry about the rush this morning.
That's okay.
Actually, I'm not going to apologize for any of this, because we show up, right? We show up every day. We all showed up to the earth. You know, I mean, it is what it is, and it's a very much a presence in the present type of impact all this energy is having on all of us. But I just want to thank you for coming, and I thank you for collaborating with me again. But I want to know if there's anything that you want to share, anything you want to talk about before we get out of here. You know, any blessing, any light language, any singing, dancing, just any announcements, anything you're doing online. Just go ahead and let us know so we can be aware of it.
Thanks, Todd. And I just want to say thank you to Sheila Sen in the comments. So what do I have to say? We just really need to come together and lift ourselves up. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. Stop apologizing. And I'm saying this to the audience, you know, stop apologizing. Stop saying sorry for anything. Because, you know, like you were saying, Todd, we show up. It's okay to be late. It's okay to be however you are. It's okay to be whatever you are, wherever you are, wherever you're at, you know, physically, emotionally, wherever. Just be in the now, be in the present moment, you know, be love, be light, share yourself, your divine spark. You know, we are beings of God. We are divine beings, and we have no idea how beautiful we are, how divine we are, and the power that we have to manifest, the power we have to transform ourselves. And that's what we're doing at the moment. We are evolving.
Absolutely.
And there will come a day, I do believe, when we do have contact, a real contact, not a fake one. There is something I did want to share, Todd. I'm doing a Starseed weekend workshop on the 27th and 28th of March. And I still have spaces for that. So yeah, I'm so looking forward to that. It's going to be just Pleiadian downloads, upgrades, initiations. I'll be doing live channeling. I'll be doing live direct voice channeling. So the whole weekend is just going to be a lot of Pleiadian stuff. So the 27th and 28th of March, I still have some spaces left for that.
Right on.
Yeah.
So how do people find out about it?
Okay, so my website is you can find it on my website, which is thepleiadianchild.com. And I've got the full itinerary there for the whole weekend. So that's all listed. And the pleiadianchild.com. Pleiadian is Pleiadian, child.com. And also my YouTube channel is Carol Noonan, which is NOONAN.
Oh, you're Carol Noonan. Now I know who you are. I'm just kidding with you.
I thought you
No.
were serious.
Well, I had it on the YouTube, and I'm like, why does this keep coming up? I know her. Yeah. Okay. So Carol
It's
Noonan
me.
on YouTube, thepleiadianchild.com. I
Yeah.
love you. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for being brave, and keep doing what you're doing, and bring people together, have some expos, and let's have some fun with this.
Yeah.
You take care.
Thank you, Todd. Love you, brother.
We'll be back in 7 minutes with Ian Morris and his beautiful